Have you ever worked on a project where setup takes 2 days? For example, installing Node.js applications, installing some Python version, installing Docker, Kubernetes, and all those stuff. And then suddenly someone comes up and says, it doesn't work on my machine. So today I'll show what Flox.dev is and why developers are excited about it and where it fits in comparison to Docker, Nix, and traditional setup scripts. So let's first understand the problem. So let's say a new engineer joins the company. They need, say, Python 3.11, Node 20, Terraform, kubectl help, and PostgreSQL query. Right? But macOS works differently. Linux version differ, dependencies conflict, and README is outdated as well, right? So every engineer slowly creates their own custom environment, and eventually no one has that exact same setup. So this directly connects with Flock's value proposition. Let's take another scenario. So, application works locally, fails in CI. But why? The reason is different package version, different system libraries, different shells, and different architecture. So, this is actually discussed heavily in the Nix or Flox ecosystem. Let's take another scenario. So there are multiple projects, right? So you use Python 3.9 in one project, Python 3.12 on another, Node 18 here and Node 22 say there. And then again we have PyNV, NVM, Brave, apt, conda, scripts. Everything becomes messy. So this is another scenario that Flox is trying to solve. Now the question is what Flox actually is. So let's go to the documentation of Flox. So Flox is a reproducible development environment manager built on top of Nix. Think of it like a smarter cross-platform environment manager for developers. Now understand the difference between Flox and Docker. So Docker, that is for container isolation, and Flox whereas is shell-based environment. So you can segregate the environment on your local machine or local shell. And Docker is heavyweight and Flox is lightweight. Docker needs container runtime and it doesn't need container runtime if you talk about Flox. And it is a next is and it has a separate file system. But if you talk about Flox, it uses your own local system. So Flox is not trying to replace Kubernetes or Docker in production, but it is trying to make developer environment reproducible and portable. Now let's jump into the demo right away. So the configuration is pretty straightforward. So I'll simply use brew install for Flox. So this is for Mac, and we can get the documentation. Let's go to. So we can find the installer over here, and we can see for Mac OS and I mean all the things, Linux, Nix, everything we have here. So I'll take reference of Mac. So it is pretty straightforward. We'll simply run brew install Flox. So since I have already installed it, so it is not going to install, I guess. Okay, so it is already installed. Now I simply need to go to Flox and initialize. And before that, we need to ensure we are in the right directory. So I'll keep a simple directory. Let's make it as demo, say Flox. So I'll go to demo Flox and I'll simply run Flox in it. So it will take a couple of seconds and yeah, it is done. Okay, so now I'm going to install a couple of environments, couple of applications. So I've copied already. Let me paste it. Sorry. So I'll type it rather Flox install. So installing package is pretty straightforward. So it is Flox install and the package name. So let's take example of Node.js, Python 3. If you have any specific version, we can mention it. But I'm keeping as it is for now. Terraform, say kubectl Let's keep this one for now. I'll simply run it and it will take a couple of minutes. So it is creating the environment. Okay, so now this has been done, and let me go back and see. Okay, so we can see over here. So we have this directory has been created, and if you go to .flox and go to environment, we can see the manifest file toml file here. So we can do cat toml, and we can see all the variables. So I'll simply remove the hash so that we can see over here. So the package that we installed, so we can see it over here, right? So this is pretty good as of now. Now let's go and activate this environment. So I'll go on top of my directory. Yeah, I'm here at demo, and I'll simply run command flox activate, and now we are done. So what we have to do, we have to create a folder, and inside the folder we install any package, so the environment will be created, right? So we can see it says demo.flox. So the same can be so we can, what we can do, we can push it to a git repo and we can share the repo link. So whenever someone clones the repo and simply run flox activate, so he or she is going to be live with the same environment that is set up right now. So this says the environment is isolated to this project itself. So we have this demo.flox project created, and inside it only it has the respective environment. The question is where Flox fits in modern DevOps. So wherever we need to reproduce the issue, whether it is platform engineering or developer experience or infra as a code or AI coding agent or anywhere where we need to reproduce the issue, so we can use this. Now let's check the version. Say node version. It says, so we install node for 24, I guess. Okay, so it put the latest one, that's fine. And let's put for Python 3 version dot 13. Say Terraform version. And we can see the tier version as well. Right. And we can also see the list. So it shows list of the packages. Okay, so now we'll see what good and what bad about it. I mean, pros and cons. Let's understand. I'll make this fonts a bit larger so I can simply type it over here. So I'll go back. Okay, so now what's the pros and cons? So if we talk about pros. So in pros we can see we can leverage it across cross platform. Sorry, and we can use it to reproduce the issue, right? And it is also developer friendly. And if you compare it, so the environment similar setup already exists for Nix, but it is pretty easier than Nix, I would say. And it is great for teams as well. Now let's talk about cons. So if we talk about, so this is still new, I mean, still in a growing phase, and the underlying ecosystem lies in Nix itself. And it's not like every company will need this. So it's the developer who mostly need it. So not every company is going to need this. And if you talk about simple projects, so okay, so if you talk about complex project, so it is definitely going to benefit. But for simpler projects, so it is not really needed. So like Flox is not another package manager, so it is a part of larger shift towards producible infrastructure and developer environment. And honestly, I think tools like this will become more important as AI generated code and multi-platform development continue to grow. So now question for you, would you actually use Flox in your workflow? Let me know in comments. See you in the next video. Bye bye.